Hello everybody, and today marks the release of the finale of SSBM Rank Summer 2015 Top 25. That sure was a mouthful. If you guys saw today, Armada got #1, and respectfully so. I think if you look at the scope of work of all the players that played Melee in 2015, there should be very little controversy in Armada getting #1. There's murmurs that Leffen should have deserved #1 based on recent results, but honestly, if you look at Armada's scope of work for the entire 6 months, this guy has just been a monster. And by almost every metric that you can muster, it's really hard to make an argument elsewhere to say that there is another player that played better than Armada in 2015. Now, even if you were to go by the metric of placements, Armada by far crushed everybody else in terms of placing at Super Majors, with a 2nd place finish at Apex 2015, a 2nd place finish at CEO, and a 1st place victory at EVO 2015. No other player made grand finals at all 3 with the same level of consistency. If you look at all the other members of the Big 5 or Big 6, they all had like questionable performances, throwing some 5th places, but Armada made it to grand finals every time. So if you're going by the metric of Super Majors, which I think is not the perfect, but it's a decent indicator of success, Armada by far stands above everyone else. Not only that, you look at his regular results, the only blemish he had all year was Paragon, where he got 5th place, his lowest placing in years. 1 Sandstorm, 1 I'm Not Yelling. Both of those contained, really good competition. Sandstorm had Hungrybox, Leffen, Mango, Westballs, Axe. Didn't drop a set. I'm Not Yelling came back from losers, defeated Mango, won 2 out of 3 sets against him, beat Leffen. And did he beat Leffen? I don't remember. BC gets 2nd place, losing to Leffen. FC Returns, What the Fox, still gets 3rd place, not too bad, although that's probably the low end in terms of Big 6 members, because FC Returns, the competition other than Leffen, Hungrybox, and Armada, there wasn't really much competition beyond that, so that's arguably a questionable performance. But you look at just the consistency of this guy, like this, and even if you look at the round robin of the Big 6, Armada has by far the best win percentage out of all of them, with a 59% win rate in 2015. Has a positive win rate or is equal against Mango, PPMD, and Hungrybox. 5-2 against Hungrybox, 6-2 against Mango. The only person he, has a deficit against is Leffen, where he went 6-7. He's actually positive on the Fox 6-4. Although people will say, yeah, Leffen won the last 4, so people in the Leffen camp do have a point. But Armada, by far has the best aggregate win percentage in the head-to-head of the round robin of the Big 6. Not only that, he does not drop sets outside of the Big 6. Unless he's sandbagging or drunk, this guy just does not lose. The last time he lost to a non-Big 6 elite level player was Silent Spectre back at Pound 4. He lost to Amso, who was debatably top 5 during that stretch. So this is a guy. This is an argument that people forget. Leffen lost to SFAT, lost to Plup a couple times, lost to Hugs, lost to Axe. Mango has had his bouts of losing to Westballs, lost to Fiction, lost to Plup. He has his questionable losses. Hungrybox has lost to a bunch of Foxes. Lost to Colbel, lost to Wizrobe, lost to SFAT. I mean, no, not SFAT. Has lost to Lucky, has lost to Plup. All these other players, King hasn't really entered much, has some losses against Axe. PPMD, also hasn't really lost to anyone outside the Big 6, but he doesn't have a sample size. And given the amount of tournaments that Armada has entered, he's entered 6 out of 8 majors and all 3 super majors, to not have dropped a single set against a top 20, top 25 level player is impressive. Considering the amount of improvement we've seen out of the West Balls, the Axes, the Plubs, and all those people in the 6 through 15 range, he's played them decently. I mean, a lot of them. So he actually has a sample size of playing, PPU, Silent Wolf, Axe, West Balls, and he hasn't lost to any of them. He hasn't dropped a set, and that's something that people really undervalue, and that just shows the amount of consistency that Armada has over everybody else, is the fact that he does not drop a set. In an era where we don't have, the quote-unquote 5 gods, because the gap has shrunk, Armada still stands tall above everyone that isn't like top 5 or top 6 level. And it's amazing. Last year, if you watch a lot of Armada's play, Armada had to give up the young Link back at EVO 2014. And even if you watch that Kings of Cali, Ultraman set between him and Mango, Armada's Fox didn't look that good at that time. And to take a Fox that, probably could have never beaten Hungrybox like a year ago, that would have struggled with Mango's main characters, to take it to the point where Armada is dominating with Fox Ditto, beating top 15 level Foxes in the Fox Ditto for free is really impressive. There's stories of SFAT playing Armada for 50 friendlies and only winning 2. I'm pretty sure Armada would dominate the Luckies, the Silent Wolves, and the Ditto. And these are players that are no slouch at the Fox Ditto matchup. And for the fact that Armada, in a span of a year, can take a matchup where he's probably not that great at it to the point where he's winning it is really impressive. And for the fact that Armada also has a positive record with Hungrybox, with a character that he just really started playing seriously less than a year ago, is really impressive. And it's crazy because other Foxes, they might have their minor stints, they might win once in a while, but a lot of the other Foxes just don't win. They lose in game 5, or they take a game and then they lose. But Armada stands, above all these Foxes that have been maining Fox for years. And even just the amount of improvement you see from Armada, even from Apex, where he got second, losing to PP, and you look at that Fox that played in that set, and you look at that Fox that played at EVO, there is just a dramatic improvement in the way that Armada moves, the way he avoids taking damage, the way that he punishes. There were so many 0 deaths from a Fox on a Marth on Pokemon Stadium, which is something that is really absurd and really, hard to imagine. Just imagine telling your friends, there's a possibility that you can 0 death Marth now, and if you told people that a year ago or 2 years ago, they would think you're crazy. It's you get your up throw, you get a couple of up airs, and that's it. That's 40 damage. But the Armada, the fact that he can turn something so small, such as a person teching on a platform and taking that and running with it and doing 100 damage, is just ridiculous. And so there are some minor clips about his neutral game, but there's one thing that stands for him that's really amazing. It's just the way he punishes people. It's just spectacular. He's taken aspects of his Peach game, and he just really understands how people tech, and he just really understands the game, that he's taken all that punishment game from his Peach and has transferred it to his Fox in almost seamless manner. I think people forget that it's really difficult to transfer characters. We've seen Hacks do it, we've seen these top level players do it, Hacks, Shroomed, and they all had minor dips in performances for a long while, a year or year and a half. But Armada, he had minor dips, and then he quickly, rose up to the top again. And so overall, very well-deserved victory for a man that works arguably harder than anyone else. The only person that I can think of that works as hard as Armada is possibly Leffen. His practice, his dedication, his work ethic has really shown in the year. If there's a tech that he needs to learn or a new extension to a combo, chances are he's doing research at his home, playing against computers all day to just figure out how to add more damage. And the fact that he practices so much, it's really evident, and it's really shown in his gameplay. So congratulations, Armada. Definitely worthy of a first place performance, and yeah, you really deserve it.